On a scorching afternoon in the vast plains of the American Midwest, the sky was draped in dense gray clouds. The wind began to pick up, soft at first, yet something felt off. Veteran farmers sensed the shift in the air, a heavy atmosphere, rising pressure, and a strange chill cutting through the heat. In such seemingly ordinary conditions, one of nature's most dangerous phenomena was brewing: a tornado. From afar, weather radars had already detected swirling air currents forming a powerful storm front, driven by intense temperature differences between the warm ground layer and the cooler upper atmosphere. When these air masses collided, they began to rotate, forming a massive vortex in the clouds, the first stage of a tornado. Above, the wind swirled in an upright spiral, growing stronger by the second. Lightning cracked across the sky, signaling something terrifying was about to unfold. And then, from the bottom of the storm cloud, a faint funnel appeared, small at first, but growing rapidly by the minute. Within minutes, the funnel reached the ground. That moment marked the full birth of a tornado. The rotating air column, moving at over 300 kilometers per hour, began its rampage, unpredictable, unstoppable, and utterly uncontrollable. The tornado barreled across endless wheat fields. The ground was shredded beneath its force. Trees were uprooted, chunks of soil hurled into the air and swallowed by the dark, spinning core. Heavy tractors were tossed like toys. Animals fled in terror, but none could outrun the monster charging toward them. From a distance, farmers could only stare in disbelief as the tornado tore through their lands. Some made it into underground shelters. Others could do nothing but pray. The tornado didn't stop. It continued its path of destruction. When it struck a farm, houses crumbled in seconds. Brick walls, tin roofs, power poles, vehicles, all shredded and hurled into the air like paper scraps. Dash cams and storm chaser footage captured haunting images. A house being lifted off the ground and shredded midair. A truck thrown over 100 meters. Power lines burst into flames, crackling violently in the rain. The tornado, like a giant black dragon, moved relentlessly toward a small town a few kilometers away. No one knew its direction or when it would stop. Everything was at the mercy of nature. In the tiny town of Hawthorne's Field, with just a few hundred residents, the warning sirens wailed. People dropped everything, rushing into underground shelters or reinforced rooms. Outside, it looked like dusk, though it was only 4 p.m. Lightning ripped through the sky, and rain lashed down like nature's whip. Not far away, the tornado, now over a kilometer tall and nearly 400 meters wide, spun with ferocious intensity. As it reached the town's edge, the first few houses vanished in an instant. The sound of breaking glass, splintering wood, and tearing metal filled the air. Security cameras and live streams captured terrifying scenes. An elderly couple barely made it into their backyard storm shelter as their home was obliterated. Luckily, their reinforced underground bunkers saved them, but when they emerged hours later, nothing remained but rubble. The tornado pushed northeast. Weather stations classified it as an EF5, the highest on the enhanced Fujita scale, with wind speeds exceeding 320 kilometers per hour. No standard structure could survive a direct hit. It tore through a small lumber factory. Massive wooden beams were sucked into the sky and became deadly projectiles. A 12-ton shipping container was lifted and tossed like a die. Every effort at defense, steel fences, concrete barriers, was obliterated. Nearby residents fled in panic. Emergency crews rushed in. Ambulances, fire trucks, police. But in the heart of the tornado, there was no safety. In moments like this, people could only cling to hope.
After nearly 42 minutes of destruction across 3 counties, flattening hundreds of homes and crippling infrastructure, the tornado began to weaken. As it moved into hilly terrain, the disrupted airflow caused it to lose strength. Finally, it dissipated, just as suddenly as it had formed, leaving behind a landscape scarred beyond recognition. The storm faded, winds calmed, as if nothing had happened. Only silence remained, and people were left stunned in the wake of nature's wrath. Damage reports painted a devastating picture. Over 1,500 homes destroyed, more than 3,000 hectares of farmland ruined, nearly 70 injured, and 8 confirmed dead. Power, water, and communication lines were cut off for days. Schools and hospitals shut down. Relief agencies mobilized. Temporary shelters, food stations, mobile clinics appeared. But for many, what was lost wasn't just property. It was memory, a lifetime's work, and a traumatized community trying to find its footing again. In the ruins of Hawthorne's Field, rescuers found James Carter, 64, a retired soldier. He lived alone in a wooden house on the town's outskirts. When the sirens went off, he grabbed his radio and a blanket, diving into a small pit he'd dug years earlier. When the wind started howling like a dragon, I knew something beyond human control was coming, James told a local reporter. He described the earth shaking, debris slamming above him for what felt like an eternity. I cried, I prayed. I thought of my son in the military. Then, silence. When I opened the hatch, it looked like a bomb had gone off. His home was gone. Only the radio and his underground shelter remained. James had survived because of his own caution, a rare stroke of fortune. According to meteorologists, tornadoes are born from extreme instability in the atmosphere. When warm ground air and cold upper air masses clash, they create rotation. Wind at varying speeds and directions at different altitudes produces a horizontal spin. Under storm conditions, this spin tilts upright, forming a vortex. In EF5 tornadoes, wind speeds can exceed 320 kilometers an hour to level homes, flip trucks, and bend train tracks. Tornadoes can span hundreds of meters to over a kilometer wide, lasting from minutes to over an hour, moving at 30 to 60 kilometers per hour across the land. Unlike hurricanes or earthquakes, tornadoes strike suddenly, change direction without warning, and often leave little time to react, making them among the deadliest phenomena on Earth. Climate change is increasing the frequency and intensity of extreme weather, including tornadoes. Areas once thought safe now experience out-of-season and unusually strong twisters.